Sikeleli Afrika Malukawa Yesu Pondolayo Kiswahili tanazo yetu Kosi Sikelela China Lusapolwayo Lulela Uluka Sichama sa Yesu Usibuluke, sichabasa, Yesu, sichabasa, South Africa, South Africa.
Kosi Sikeleli Afrika. It was the present national anthem of South Africa. And the old anthem of South Africa is Die Stem. I'll just, you can see the two anthems, in this video. Just see there. So these are the two national anthems of South Africa. One is the older one up to 1994. Die Stem is the older anthem of the South Africa up to 1994. Later, once they got the freedom, they have taken this song as this anthem as the national anthem. What is that, sir? Kosi Sikeleli Afrika. So the day was symbolized for me by the playing of our two national anthems and the vision of whites singing Kosi Sikeleli Afrika, which means in English, God bless Africa, and blacks singing Die Stem, the old anthem of the Republic. Although the day neither group, neither group, that means those two groups, whites and blacks, both groups knew, means that both groups did not know the lyrics of the anthem they once despised. That means had a very low opinion of. They did not know the lyrics of these anthems, but they would soon know the words by heart. As it was the national anthem, they had to by heart this anthem. So you can just watch the video on these two anthems later, please. Next passage. On the day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War and before my own birth, the white-skinned peoples of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned peoples of their own land. The structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhumane societies the world has ever known. Now, in the last decade of the 20th century, and my own 8th decade as a man, that system had been overturned forever and replaced by one that recognized the rights and freedoms of all peoples, regardless of the color of their skin. What a passage it is. What a passage it is. See here once again. On the day of the inauguration, I was overwhelmed with a sense of history. overwhelmed. See the meaning of overwhelmed. Have a strong emotional feelings. Have a strong emotional effect. See there. On the day of the inaugural ceremony, Mandela was remembering the days of past when this whole system of apartheid emerged. It resulted in inequality and inferior treatment of dark-skinned people. In the first decade of the 20th century, a few years after the bitter Anglo-Boer War, you will come to know about this Anglo-Boer War later. And before my own birth, the white-skinned peoples of South Africa patched up their differences and erected a system of racial domination against the dark-skinned peoples of their own land. So, the white people showed inequality and inferior treatment of dark-skinned people. They were all deprived of their basic fundamental rights. As a result, one of the world's most brutal and inhumane society was born. This society was born before he was born. This system created an atmosphere of extreme cruelty and injustice for a particular part of the community, black-skinned people. Now, when he is in his 8th decade as a man, he, along with his countless others, have changed this entire system that treats humans as humans irrespective of their color, caste, gender, or age. So, the structure they created formed the basis of one of the harshest, most inhumane societies the world has ever known. Now, in the last decade of the 20th century, and my own 8th decade as a man, that system had been overturned forever and replaced by one that recognized the rights and freedoms of all peoples regardless of the color of their skin. Yes. So note down the meanings of these words from this passage. Yes. Overwhelmed. Overwhelmed means have a strong emotional effect. Have a strong emotional effect. Erected. Erected means build, construct. Construct. Racial domination. That means racial domination is when people of one race have power over another race. Inhumane. Cruel or brutal. Overturned. Reversed. Overturned means reversed. So this is the passage, students. Next passage. That day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of my people, people whose sufferings and courage can never be counted or repaid. I felt that day, as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. That long and noble line ended and now began again with me. I was pained that I was not able to thank them and that they were not able to see what their sacrifices had wrought. So, that day had come about through the unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of people. People whose sacrifices, whose suffering and courage can never be counted or repaid. Before we got the freedom, there are many unimaginable sacrifices. Many unimaginable sacrifices of thousands of people whose suffering and courage can never be counted. Many people had lost their life for the freedom of their country, South Africa. I felt that day, here I mean Nelson Mandela, felt that day as I have on so many other days, that I was simply the sum of all those African patriots who had gone before me. So this equal and freedom country was a result of sacrifices of countless other men and women who have fought all their lives for this day. So the other, Nelson Mandela wishes if he could thank them all, but unfortunately they didn't live to see the result of their courage. To enjoy this freedom, they did not live to enjoy the freedom. So, I was pained and I was not able to thank them. They were not able to see what their sacrifices had wrought. See the meaning of the word wrought. Done, achieved. So Nelson Mandela gathered his courage and power from all these people and thus wishes to make them proud. So note down the words from this passage. Note down the words. Unimaginable, difficult to imagine, or impossible to imagine. Patriots means, you know that patriots means a person who supports their country and is prepared to defend it against enemies. So wrought means done or achieved. Done or achieved. Next passage. The policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. WOUND. Here the pronunciation is wound, not wound. Wound. All of us will spend many years, if not generations, recovering from that profound hurt, but the decades of the oppression and brutality had another unintended effect, and that was that it produced the Oliver Tambos, the Walter Sisulu, the Chief Luthlis, the Yusuf Dadus, the Bram Fishers, the Robert Sobukvis of our time, men of such extraordinary courage, wisdom, and generosity that their like may never be known again. Perhaps it requires such depths of oppression to create such heights of character. My country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil, but I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamonds. Yes. So coming to the passage once again. The policy of apartheid created a deep and lasting wound in my country and my people. All of us will spend many years, if not generations, recovering from the profound hurt. Profound means either deep and strong. But the decades of oppression and brutality had another unintended effect, and that was that it produced the Oliver Tambos, the Walter Sisulus, the Chief Luthlis, the Yusuf Dadus, the Bram Fishers, the Robert Sobukvis of our time, men of such extraordinary, these are the people, Oliver Tambo, Walter Sisulu, Chief Luthli, Yusuf Dadu, Bram Fisher, Robert Sobukvi. Who are these? These are some prominent names in the struggle against this apartheid. That means racism between white and black. So, see here, courage, wisdom and generosity that their like may never be known again. So the oppression policy scared many people and it will take a long time for them to move on. Nelson Mandela mentions that this hard time had its negative impacts, but it also exposed a lot of strong and courageous men who stood up and raised their voice. Thus it required that level of unjust treatment to produce such great heroes. He says that South Africa is rich in minerals and gems, but its greatest strength lies in its people. See there. His country is rich in the, my country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil. But I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamonds. So this is the passage. Go for the next passage. Now, it is from these comrades in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. Time and again, I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. I have seen men stand up to attacks and torture without breaking, showing a strength and resilience that defies the imagination. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Very good sentence. So, it is from these comrades, comrades means friends, fellow people, fellow member, comrades. It is from these comrades in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. I learned the meaning of courage from these people. Time and again I have seen men and women risk and give their lives for an idea. I have seen men stand up to attacks and torture without breaking, showing a strength and resilience that defies the imagination. See the meaning of word resilience. Resilience means the ability to deal with any kind of hardship and recover from its effects. Bear the hardships. Ability to bear the hardships. Deface means refuse to obey. Deface means refuse to obey. He did not agree. Deface means refuse to obey the imagination. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. My dear students, the brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he conquers that fear. So, Nelson Mandela gained his strength to stand against the wrong from all the great nationalists he mentioned above. Those are people who have even risked their lives for freedom and tolerated ill treatment, but never stopped fighting. He learned that courage didn't mean the absence of fear, but the ability to overcome fear. The man who overcomes his fear is called brave. The man who overcomes, who conquers his fear is called brave. So, note down the words comrades. Comrades means a fellow member of an organization, a colleague. A colleague or the fellow member of an organization. Resilience, the ability to deal with any kind of hardship and recover from its effect. Deface. Deface means refuse to obey. Triumph means victory, great victory or great achievement. Triumph means achievement. Next passage. No one is born hating another person because of the color of the skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its opposite. Even in the grimmest times in prison, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the guards, perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. Yes. No one is born hating another person. By birth, we do not hate any person generally. By birth, we do not hate any person because of the color of his skin or his background or his religion. People must learn to hate. Of course, it's good to hate, but if they can't learn to hate, they can be taught to love. They have to love even. When they hate other, they should know how to love also. For love comes more natural to the human heart than its opposite. What is its opposite? Hate. Love comes more naturally than hate. Even in the grimmest times in prison, grimmest means very serious, very gloomy, sad days. Even in the sad days, sad times in prison, Nelson Mandela was in prison for many years. When my comrades means his colleagues, his fellow members in the jail, when my comrades and I were pushed to our limits, generally in the jail, there were some limits, it pushed to the last point in our ability to bear pain. Exactly, pushed to our limits. I would see a glimmer of humanity in one of the gods. Even there was humanity. I had seen a humanity in one of the gods. Of course, perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to reassure me and keep me going. Reassure me to say something. To reassure me means to say something to remove the doubts. So, to reassure me and keep me going, that's enough. God had shown us humanity. It was for a second, but that's enough to keep me going, to encourage me. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden, but never extinguished. Goodness in man never be extinguished. So, dear students, goodness in man never be extinguished. Of course, just it can be hidden. When the time comes, undoubtedly it comes out to burn the dark. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. So, this is part 2, students. Please go through the text once again and answer the questions given below. Thank you. Thank you so much.